All right. So welcome. Like I said, my name is Katie Olson. I'm going to be presenting to you today about digital detox, reframing your relationship with technology. The content in this presentation is based on the book How to Break Up with Your Phone by Catherine Price. And the information that we're going to cover can be applied to other forms of technology as well, such as computers, video games, television, social media, and etc. So first things first, before I bias your perspective, before you hear from me, I want to hear from you. So go ahead and take a look at your handout. The first two questions are, how does technology positively affect you? And how does technology negatively affect you? So I want you to go ahead and jot down your responses to both of those questions on your handout. And then in a minute, we're going to take the opportunity to share those responses with the group. Technology can be community connections, as Ariel shared. Donna also says that it can keep her informed and up to date on what's going on. Family connections, seeing what friends and family are up to, communicating with people you don't see often, fun and entertainment, keeping in touch with long distance family and friends, accessing news articles and recipes, very good. Yeah, especially in light of everything we've been experiencing for the past year and a half, technology has been a useful tool and a critical aspect of how we operate on a day-to-day basis. But I bet more than ever, we've experienced some of the adverse aspects of technology as well. Okay, so it takes away from face-to-face connections. Oops, wastes time. Let's see here. Information overload, jealousy or FOMO, absolutely. Comparison, always on, absolutely. It's almost a like a value in our culture to be exhausted or to never turn off or to never rest, but rest is actually an essential part of life. It's a black hole. How many of us wake up in the morning thinking, man, if only I hadn't been on my phone for an hour before bedtime, I would feel so much more rested right now. Endless scrolling, always available. Yeah, I guess it kind of erodes at your personal boundaries in that way. Easy to get caught up and ignore the physical world. Oh, false information, that's true too. You get even end up in what they call them echo chambers, where you hear the same information over and over, whether it's true or not. Oh, absolutely. Alyssa mentioned some physical consequences, such as a hurting wrist. Maybe others include the back. They definitely say that we're engaging a lot more forward hunching as we engage with technology. Anxiety, yeah, that emotional impact there. Addiction, yeah, great responses. So I'm gonna move us quickly into just 4 areas that we wanted to highlight of ways that technology can affect us negatively. There can be, you can find more in the book that I referenced, and I'll include the title again later on, How to Break Up with Your Phone. But I'm just going to touch briefly on 4 different ways that you guys may have already touched on as well. So first of all, messing with our memory and attention. This is a really important one. The mechanism by which this works is that a lot of times we're multitasking when we use technology. Maybe you have multiple browsers up on your computer, you're doing multiple things at the same time. Maybe during a Zoom call, you're doing something else, such as working on a different project or checking emails. Perhaps you are using your phone and television at the same time. You're like playing a game on your phone or scrolling while watching a TV show. And the reason I have multitasking in quotation marks is because, as you may have heard, multitasking is not actually how the human brain works. We're not capable of processing 2 complex cognitive tasks at the same time. Or rather, what you're engaging in is called task switching, where your brain is switching from one activity to the other back and forth. And it only does this well after a period of 25 minutes. So kind of this little nugget is going to appear a couple times throughout the presentation as to why that's important. But just to let you know that when you think you're being an effective multitasker, really your brain needs more time than you might have guessed to effectively switch from one task to another. And there can be long-term consequences of engaging in this multitasking behavior. A recent study showed that heavy multitaskers were worse at ignoring irrelevant information, switching efficiently between tasks, and organizing memory. So it can definitely have effects on your attention, your concentration, and your memory formation processes. So that one's pretty major. Another one is that technology is designed to addict us. So obviously app developers, software developers, etc. They make money mainly through advertisement, and who pays for the advertisement? We do with our time, with our attention. So, all the different ads that are going to pop up while you're using an app or a browser, that's how they pay for their app, even if it's free. So that's the whole goal of the programs that they're designing, is to addict us and to keep us coming back for more. Similarly, as some people mentioned in the chat, technology can put us on an emotional roller coaster. We encounter a large amount of information and experiences in a short amount of time, everything from the news to things you might encounter on social media, things that might make you feel frustrated, jealous, helpless, hopeless, all kinds of different things. And ironically, that's part of what's so addictive about technology. It's kind of like a slot machine. The psychological term is called intermittent reinforcement. And it's actually a very powerful behavior motivator. And so that is, even though it's a negative experience, it's actually addicting. And fourthly, technology has a big impact on our sleep. As you see, I say that all nocturnal light is bad light. So light has a suppressing effect on the production of melatonin. And melatonin is a neurotransmitter that you need, or is a hormone that you need to create sleepfulness and to help you go to sleep at night. And all light can have a suppressing effect on the production of melatonin. And particularly blue light is known to be particularly noxious in that way. I'm sure you've heard the term before about, blue light is bad. I agree. I say all light is bad when you're trying to go to sleep. And we'll dive into the solutions in a little bit. I don't want to give away too many spoilers right now, but those are some of the adverse effects that technology can have on our sleep. And feel free to drop in the chat any comments you may have on that. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to shift our attention to your goals. So something made you sign up for this workshop. Where do you want to be? What is it that you're hoping to achieve? So if you glanced at your handout, the next two questions are, what do you want to pay attention to? And what would you do with more hours in the day? So go ahead and take 2-3 minutes here to jot down your responses to those questions and just ask yourself, where do you want to be tomorrow, in a week, in a month? All right, Ryan shares that he wants to pay attention to his health, his people, his hobbies and activities that give him joy. Deborah mentions playing the guitar more, paying more attention to reading for themselves and their toddlers, spending more time outdoors, self-care, pay more attention to nature, even human-made biolandscapes. A lot of research behind the health benefits of green spaces and exposure to nature. Learning new skills and developing in creativity instead of looking at other people's creative output. Reading for pleasure, drawing, painting, sleep, definitely. Wanting to learn to be bored again. Ukulele, very nice. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing all of those. I don't need to really add any more ideas. This is your life and what excites you. So those are all awesome examples. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you some tools to help you reach those goals. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through 4 techniques that you can use to set boundaries with technology. And the first one is called speed bumps. And a speed bump is a minor obstacle that allows you to slow down and make a conscious decision about your technology consumption. So it doesn't prevent or block you from engaging with technology, but it does help you to be mindful and ask yourself the following questions. What for? Why now? And what else? So what for is, what am I reaching for my technological device to do right now? Again, it doesn't just have to be a phone. It could be computer, email, smartwatch, whatever else. So do I want to Google something? Am I trying to text somebody? Am I checking for a text, work emails, social media? What am I reaching for it to do? Why now? What was the impetus for the behavior? Am I bored? Am I waiting in line? Am I waiting for a message from somebody? Am I feeling anxious, lonely, any of these different emotions? And what else? What are some alternative behaviors that I could choose to do instead? And we'll move into that as the presentation goes on. So this is an internal speed bump. It's just your inner voice as you ask yourself these questions. Next up is a physical speed bump. A physical speed bump could be something like a location, so where you choose to put your phone. So maybe while you're at work, you put it in a desk drawer or something like that where you can't even see it. I do that, and I reach for my phone so much less. Sometimes I can't even remember where it is, even though I put it in the same place every time. So out of sight, out of mind, very effective. Another type of physical speed bump might be putting something like a hair tie or headphones with a cord or something wrapped around your cell phone. And then every time you go to reach for it, you have this physical barrier. It doesn't prevent me from using my phone. I could just take the hair tie off and still use it, but it makes it a little more annoying. So maybe I'm less likely to do it. And it also gives me that opportunity to pause and ask myself the 3 questions about, do I really want to use my phone or technology right now? And another type of speed bump is a technological speed bump. There are many different kinds of those. I just wanted to touch on a few. The first one is called an app blocker. So this is really cool. This is an app that you can download for your phone or even something you could use for your browser on the computer. And you pick limits for certain apps or websites that you want to limit yourself to. So maybe you, set your social media devices to no more than 10 minutes per day. Or maybe you set your work email where you're not able to access it between 6 and 7 p.m. every day, so you're focused on eating a nutritious dinner. Or maybe you set it so that you cannot access it during certain hours on the weekend if you find that's something you're doing a lot. So like I said, this is something that you can do on your phone or on your computer for apps or for browsers. And I can send you the information afterwards because I think people might be interested. But Freedom is the name of a program that you can use for Apple or for your computer. And then Off Time is one you can use for your Android device. So Freedom and Off Time. Another type of technological speed bump is deleting social media apps from your phone. So you could still access social media if you wanted to. You could do it from your computer or from a browser, but by making it not this one-touch thing, you're probably a lot less likely to just go to it constantly throughout the day. There's more of a barrier or an obstacle to accessing that. I'm going to touch base on another way to set boundaries with your technology, which is creating no phone zones. A no phone zone is a time, place, or situation where you're choosing not to engage with your phone or other technology. Some examples might include while at the dinner table, in the bathroom. I know a lot of us do that, but maybe we want to rethink that decision. In the bed or bedroom, as we've already mentioned, as far as going to sleep at night, that can have very adverse consequences. And additionally, conditioning is actually a big driver of human behavior. A lot of you maybe heard of classical conditioning and Pavlov's dogs, and we do come to associate certain actions with locations. There becomes an association of behaviors. And so if the phone becomes associated with the bedroom, that can also have an impact on your sleep, not just the light exposure or other that we were talking about. While driving is probably another good example of a no phone zone. Maybe you can put your phone in the trunk of your car so it would be impossible to use it while you're driving. That's also setting a physical speed bump. And any other ideas you might come up with. So jot some down in the handout, drop it in the chat. I'm going to keep moving on to barrier number 3, which is setting a bedtime and a wake up time for your phone. This one's really important. Reasons why phone use before bedtime, we've already discussed. Reduced sleep quality and quantity. We get sucked in, we spend more time on the phone than we were planning on. We've got the light blasting our eyes, we're mentally stimulated. And also the emotional roller coaster it might put us on so that our mind is going really fast as we're trying to unwind for bedtime. And phone use in the morning, that's your time to set the trajectory of your day. And depending on what you encounter when you scroll through the news, it might ruin your entire day. So maybe choosing to set the trajectory of your day with intentionality instead of letting technology set the trajectory of your day for you. So let's talk how. Number 1, not using your phone at least 1 hour before or after bedtime. And this is an at least kind of thing. I didn't put that in the wording, but the goal is at least. And how are we going to accomplish that? By creating a plan. So if you just set the intention, but you don't have in mind what it is that you'll be doing instead, it's likely you'll slip back into old habits and patterns. So I'd love to hear in the chat, and then also jot it down on your handout. Let's start off with the before bed thing. So what are some things you could do in that roughly 1 hour before bedtime that would help you relax and unwind and get ready for sleep that don't involve technology, period? Phone, TV, anything like that. Read a book. Let's see, we've got journaling, turn the lights down, reading and meditating. Yeah, maybe taking a warm bath, removing the phone charger next to the recliner, fold the mound of clothes, read, color, do a puzzle, stretching. Oh, preparing for the next day. I like that. That's a good one. Making lunch, planning the wardrobe, clean the house. Yeah, those are all really great ideas. It's definitely going to take some practice to make that a part of your routine. And we'll touch on one key that one of you guys mentioned already in a moment. But first, let's tap into the other idea of first thing in the morning, don't check your phone for at least 30 minutes to an hour. What are you going to do instead? How are you going to start off your day? Stretching, hanging out with the cats, gardening. Sounds like a great morning to me. Working out. Drinking coffee before going into work, understood. Yoga, maybe some morning journaling or reading, setting your intentionality for the day, going to the gym, some meditation, stretching. Yeah. So make sure to jot down on your handout. It says my tech wake up time and my tech bedtime. So jot down, pry your teen out of bed. Jot down either what time or just how much time you're hoping to not engage your phone with, for 30 minutes after waking up, an hour, whatever it is for you. All right, I'm going to give the credit to the right person. As Casey said, a crucial component is changing where you charge your phone. If it's charging where you sleep, strong chances you're going to use it right before you go to bed and right after you wake up. So buy an alarm clock and then charge your phone somewhere else. Again, out of sight, out of mind. Maybe you charge it by the front door and then you can just grab it on your way out the door on your way to work. Maybe you charge it in your car or while you're at work, so it doesn't even need to be charging at home at all. That is a really critical component to being successful. Oops. Okay, and get the household involved. It might be difficult to stick to some of these goals if you don't have other people in alignment with you. But maybe your teenager that you're trying to pry out of bed is sleepy because they were up late on their phone too. So maybe turn it into a household charging station where all the phone chargers are in the same place and everyone puts their phone there to charge it for the night. All right, we've got one more. This is so critical, turning off notifications. Notifications interrupt your flow. Like we said, it takes about 25 minutes for your brain to fully switch from one task to another. And with the amount of notifications that you're probably getting throughout your day, throughout your work day, you're never in your flow space. You're never optimally functioning. Notifications can come in all different shapes and sizes. It's a vibration or a ring when you get a text message or a phone call. It's those little red circles, they call them badges, those little icons on the top right corner of your app that's like 10,000 unread email messages or 10 unlistened to voicemails. Like, I'm never going to listen to those voicemails anyway. They're all spam. So go ahead and go to the notifications on your phone and turn off the badges. So that they picked the color red for a reason, right? So turn off those badges so every time you open your phone, it's not 10,000 things that you need to pay attention to. And also there are the notifications that pop up on your screen while you're doing things. So this is the important question to ask yourself. Are these notifications essential or non-essential? Because we have essential responsibilities to work, to family, etc. So I'm not suggesting that you completely turn off your phone often. However, perhaps you could mute all notifications except for phone calls and text messages. Better yet, you can create contact groups And then you can select which contacts you're able to receive a phone call at this time and which contacts you're not going to be receiving phone calls at this time. Email, so crucial. We all have Outlook at work, and the default setting is to pop up that little notification in the bottom right corner of our screen every time we get an email. That is extremely disruptive. Going to make it very hard for you to be in your flow. So unless it's absolutely critical for you to be at someone's, response immediately, it's going to be best if you can turn off that setting. And I can go ahead and walk anyone who's interested through that at the end of this presentation. So what you can do is you can set up a time at the end of the day in which you can go through any content that you may have missed. So, we're leaving on essential notifications and essential contacts. We're muting things like our sports app, Scrabble, social media, things like that. And then you can set 15, 30 minutes, whatever it is, maybe at the end of your day, to go back and check up on any messages that you might have missed, any news that you wanted to be caught up on. And then it's not interrupting you at your critical times of the day. So there are some people who muting their notifications actually makes them check their phone more because they're like, what did I miss? What did I miss? However, I believe that won't happen to you if you practice muting essential versus non-essential notifications. Give it at least a week. If that is you, maybe turn your notifications back on. But if you're able to filter out what you need to know and what you don't need to know, I think this will actually free up a lot of time for you. So we are going to shift gears. We've talked about setting boundaries with technology, but that's not enough. We need to reclaim our brains because we've already lost some ground, cognitively, emotionally, et cetera, through our frequent technology usage. I'm going to talk you through a couple of different strategies that you can implement to help reclaim some of that memory and attention that we were talking about earlier. So first things first, stretching your attention span. I want to hear from you all. What do you think is the number one activity for increasing your attention span? Wait, where did it go? Reading. Reading is my super secret answer. So reading is one of the best things you can do for attention span. It causes physical changes to the areas of the brain responsible for reasoning, processing visual signals, and memory. Also someone, I think maybe Ryan shared in the chat, doing one thing at a time. Absolutely. So we mentioned earlier, maybe try out, if you're watching TV, don't be on your phone. Try and do just one. Maybe try just listening to music. Don't be cooking, don't be washing dishes, just listening to music. Journaling is also great for stretching your attention span. Going for a walk and being intentional with your focus. I'm going to move through this pretty quickly because we're running out of time. The good news is all this content is covered in greater depth through the Digital Detox Challenge. I saw some of you guys already signed up for that today, which is fantastic. And I encourage the rest of you to do the same for continued reminders throughout the coming month to practice all of these changes. Next up is practicing pausing. A lot of us reach for our phones because we have 1 to 5 minutes of time just to waste. And someone mentioned this in the chat earlier, but those moments are actually moments where our creativity can come into play. I have a quote to share from you from a book called How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. She says, doing nothing is neither a waste of time nor a luxury. It's a necessary part of meaningful thought and speech. I want you guys to see how hard it can be to practice pausing. So for exactly 1 minute, we're not going to do anything. I'm not going to talk. You're not going to send messages in the chat or check your email in the other window. We're going to try pausing for 1 minute and see what it's like. Ready? Here we go. and 1 minute. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. How was that experience for everyone? Yeah, that's my first question. How was that experience? You got sleepy. Relaxing, great. I'm glad to hear. Loved it. Oh, feeling all the aches in your body. Felt good for the first 40 seconds. Did you start to get a little antsy afterwards? You started reading names. Did it feel long to anybody? I checked my watch at 45 seconds. I was like, are we done? It felt really long, like 5 minutes. Anxiety inducing. Oh man, I can relate to that. Yeah, pausing isn't something that we often get to do or that we often choose to do. I think we could all probably choose to do it every now and again. We just don't have the habit of it and don't have the tools to doing it. Some tools that are really going to help you to be successful are mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness or meditation resources. As I was preparing today, I came across just a couple mindfulness techniques that I really enjoyed. One of them was called observing with your eyes closed. So we rely on vision very heavily as far as our senses go, but if you close your eyes and then try to learn as much as you can about your environment with your eyes closed, pay attention to your hearing. What do you hear? I hear the AC crackling right now. Pay attention to what can you smell? What can you touch? Touching the hard table, kind of the soft chair. That also feeds into an exercise called 5 Things, which is really popular with mindfulness. It's a grounding technique often recommended to individuals with anxiety, but you ask yourself, what are 5 things that I can see? And you name them. 4 things I can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 you can taste. Another one I really liked was hugging and taking 3 deep breaths. You're supposed to hug somebody else, but we're at work, so maybe hug yourself. And take 3 deep breaths. And it's incredible, just all of the relaxation you feel, paying attention to all those other sensations, paying attention to your body. Somebody actually mentioned that in the chat. That's a mindfulness technique called body scanning. They mentioned all the pains that they could actually feel in their body when they took 60 seconds to stop and listen to it. So there are a ton of really great mindfulness and meditation techniques out there, and that will give your brain something to do when you're practicing pausing, because I know it's hard for a lot of us to do nothing. Maybe what we need to do instead is to just be more mindful and attentive of our surroundings, but also more mindful and attentive to our own internal states. What emotions am I experiencing right now? What is my body feeling right now? Paying attention to ourselves. Now, to help you on your journey of practicing mindfulness and meditation, we have a lot of resources. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon on Zoom, GatorCare offers a class called Relax or Unwind, which is focusing on stretching, meditation, and relaxation techniques. Mastering Meditation is a virtual workshop like this one that we can offer to your workplace to teach introductory level meditation techniques. The Meditation Challenge is also an email campaign you could sign up for once a week. You'll get 1 new meditation exercise recommendation to try out that week. And a bunch of other resources on gatorcare.org/meditation. There are actually a ton of classes every single week around UF and UF Health of yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, mindfulness, and all that good stuff, as well as a huge library of recorded meditation activities that we have that you can do at a time that's convenient for you. So I definitely encourage you to look there. Next steps, again, I'm hoping that you're able to take action after today's presentation, maybe following through on some of the activities you've jotted down on your handout, maybe signing up for the Digital Detox Challenge, which, as I've mentioned, is an expanded version of today's presentation. It's 30 days long. You get an email every day with a specific action item or a journal prompt to help you think through your technology usage and what you want it to be. The book itself, How to Break Up with Your Phone by Catherine Price, which will teach you how to take a digital fast, fasting from technology for a day, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you're ready for, getting accountability, as mentioned earlier. And that's the end. So thank you for joining. And I will stay on for any questions. That's our email address if you want to reach out to us. I will be sending an email probably tomorrow with a bunch of resources and also a survey if you wouldn't mind filling it out and just letting us know how you like the presentation so we can tweak it for next time. And thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure having you.